We have mapped distant galaxies and sent robots to Mars. Yet over 80% of our own oceans remain unexplored. And the strangest part? The biggest mysteries are not hiding in the deep. They are sitting right in front of us. Some rest in museum display cases. Others lie buried beneath desert sands or locked away in forgotten archives. Across every continent, archaeologists have uncovered objects that challenge everything we thought we knew. Ancient technologies that seem impossible for their time. Structures built with precision modern engineers cannot replicate. Tonight, we examine 10 real artifacts and places that continue to defy explanation. These are not legends. They are documented, studied, and still unexplained. We begin 300 feet beneath the icy waters of the Baltic Sea, where a team of treasure hunters found something that looked less like geology and more like a crash site. Mystery 1. The Baltic Sea Anomaly. The year was 2011. A Swedish diving team called Ocean X was scanning the seafloor between Sweden and Finland when their sonar picked up something unusual. At 300 feet below the surface, the equipment revealed a massive circular structure measuring over 200 feet across. The shape was too perfect. At first, the team assumed it was a sunken World War II vessel. When divers descended to investigate, things became strange. Electronic equipment began malfunctioning. Compasses spun in circles. Radio communications cut out completely. Several divers reported feeling disoriented, and some experienced brief blackouts. The structure itself defied natural explanation. Smooth edges, sharp geometric lines. What appeared to be carved staircases leading down into the sediment. Geologists examined the initial findings and offered a simple answer. Glacial deposits from the last ice age, they said, natural rock formations shaped by ancient ice flows. But the samples told a different story. The rock composition did not match anything else found in that region of the Baltic. Some pieces showed evidence of exposure to extreme heat, as if they had been partially melted at some point in the distant past. More than a decade has passed. No scientific consensus has emerged. Mystery 2. The Voynich manuscript. Inside the Beinecke Rare Book Library at Yale University sits a weathered manuscript that has humiliated the world's greatest codebreakers for 6 centuries. The book dates to the early 1400s. Its pages are made from calfskin vellum. Carbon dating confirms its age. None of this is disputed. What remains disputed is everything else. The entire manuscript, all 240 pages, is written in a flowing script that matches no known language on Earth. The characters appear to follow grammatical rules. The text shows consistent patterns that suggest real meaning, yet no one has ever translated a single word. The illustrations are equally baffling. Detailed drawings depict plants that do not exist in any botanical record. Astronomical charts show constellations that do not match our sky. Diagrams feature women bathing in strange green pools connected by elaborate pipe systems. During the Cold War, the National Security Agency assigned top cryptographers to crack the code. They failed. British codebreakers who had broken Nazi encryption systems tried and abandoned the effort. AI programs designed to identify linguistic patterns have produced nothing conclusive. Here is what makes this genuinely strange. Across more than 200 pages, there are no random errors. No nonsense patterns. No evidence of gibberish. If someone faked this book 600 years ago, they created the most elaborate and flawless hoax in recorded history. If it is real, then somewhere there exists knowledge that humanity has completely forgotten. Mystery 3. The Baghdad Battery. In 1938, German archaeologist Wilhelm Koenig was cataloging artifacts from a dig site near Baghdad when he noticed something unusual. Among the pottery and tools sat a small clay jar containing a copper cylinder with an iron rod suspended inside. The assembly was sealed with an asphalt plug. Koenig recognized the configuration immediately. He was looking at what appeared to be a primitive electric cell. The artifact dated to approximately 250 BCE, more than 2,000 years before Alessandro Volta invented the modern battery. Skeptics dismissed the idea until researchers built replicas. When filled with acidic solutions like vinegar or grape juice, the reproductions generated small but measurable electrical current. The voltage was low, around 1.5 volts, but it was real electricity produced by a design from ancient Mesopotamia. What did they use it for? Some scholars believe the batteries powered an early form of electroplating, coating objects in thin layers of gold or silver. Others suggest medical applications or religious purposes. The truth is, we do not know. No ancient texts describe the device. No instructions survived. Several similar artifacts have been found across the region, but none came with explanations. An entire technology existed 2 millennia ago, was used for unknown purposes, and then vanished from human knowledge until 1938. Mystery 4. The Fire Eagle's Nest. Deep in the Siberian wilderness, far from any settlement, stands a cone-shaped mound that local hunters refuse to approach. They call it the Fire Eagle's Nest. It rises over 130 feet above the forest floor, and everything about it is wrong. Animals avoid the area completely. No birds nest on its slopes. Hunting dogs whimper and refuse to go near it. Travelers who approach the mound report sudden waves of nausea and disorientation. Compasses spin erratically. GPS devices lose their signals. Scientists who have studied the site proposed a theory. Perhaps they suggested the formation was created by an underground explosion similar to the Tunguska event of 1908. But the evidence does not support this explanation. There is no impact crater, no meteor fragments, no signs of volcanic activity anywhere in the region. Samples taken from the site contained crushed limestone and unusual metallic traces that have not been fully identified. The composition suggests something extremely powerful happened here, but the mechanism remains unknown. Local legends speak of sky spirits who struck the earth with fire, leaving the ground cursed. Every scientific attempt to investigate has ended in failure. Drilling equipment breaks. Electronic instruments malfunction. Some places, it seems, do not want to be understood. Mystery 5. The Walls of Cusco. High in the Peruvian Andes stands one of history's greatest engineering puzzles. The ancient walls of Cusco were built by the Inca civilization sometime before the Spanish conquest. The stones are massive, some weighing over 100 tons. They are fitted together without mortar, without cement, without any binding agent whatsoever. What makes these walls remarkable is not their size, but their precision. Each stone is irregularly shaped, yet they interlock so perfectly that you cannot slide a razor blade between them. The joints are tighter than anything modern construction achieves without power tools. 5 centuries of earthquakes have leveled Spanish colonial buildings throughout the city. The Inca walls have not moved. They flex slightly during tremors and return to their original position. Modern seismic engineers study them to understand how they were designed. The standard explanation is that the Inca shaped each stone by hand, using smaller hammerstones, slowly chipping away material until the pieces lock together. But when modern experts attempt to replicate the work at full scale, they require cranes, computer modeling, and laser measurements just to approach the precision of the originals. The Inca had no wheels, no iron tools, no written language to record technical specifications. Ancient legends speak of a figure called Viracocha, who taught the people to soften stone and mold it like clay. Most historians dismiss this as mythology, but the walls exist. They are real, and we still cannot explain how they were built. Mystery 6. The Baigong Pipes. On Mount Baigong in China's Qinghai province, something impossible protrudes from solid rock. Hundreds of metallic pipes, some as thick as a human arm and others thinner than a coin, are embedded deep within the stone. They extend into the mountain at regular intervals, forming what appears to be a deliberate network. When Chinese researchers first tested the pipes in the early 2000s, the results were startling. Initial dating suggested the structures were over 150,000 years old. This would place them tens of thousands of years before modern humans are believed to have developed metalworking technology. Even stranger, many of the pipes appear to connect in branching patterns like a primitive plumbing or ventilation system. Some joints show evidence of welding. Skeptics have proposed alternatives. Perhaps these are fossilized tree roots that absorbed metal-like minerals over millennia. Perhaps iron-eating bacteria slowly left behind metallic patterns. Both explanations have merit. Neither fully accounts for what has been found. The regularity of the spacing, the uniformity of the diameters, the sheer scale of the network. If natural processes created the Baigong pipes, they produce something unlike anything else discovered on Earth. If artificial processes created them, then someone was building with metal long before humans were supposed to exist. Mystery 7. The Antikythera Mechanism. In 1901, sponge divers exploring a Roman shipwreck near the Greek island of Antikythera brought up what looked like a corroded lump of bronze. The artifact sat in a museum storage room for decades before anyone realized what they were looking at. Beneath the encrusted surface was an ancient astronomical computer. The device contained more than 30 interlocking bronze gears. It could predict lunar and solar eclipses years in advance. It tracked the 4-year cycle of the ancient Olympic Games. The mechanism dates to approximately 150 BCE. Nothing remotely similar appears in the historical record for another 1,000 years. The level of mechanical sophistication it demonstrates was thought to be beyond the capabilities of ancient Greek technology. In 2021, researchers at University College London used X-ray imaging to reconstruct the complete device. The results exceeded expectations. Its creators understood astronomical relationships that Europeans would not rediscover until the Renaissance. Who built it? The shipwreck scattered artifacts from multiple sources, making attribution impossible. If the Antikythera mechanism had not sunk with that ship, human technology might have advanced centuries earlier. One artifact proves the ancient world understood far more than we imagined. Mystery 8. The Longyu Caves. In 1992, a farmer in Zhejiang Province, China, was draining water from a pond when he discovered something extraordinary. Hidden beneath the surface was a passage leading into a vast underground chamber, carved entirely from solid sandstone. What began as one cave became 2, then 5, then 24. The Longyu Caves are a network of man-made caverns covering more than 30,000 square meters. Massive stone pillars support ceilings carved with intricate parallel grooves. The walls are smooth and precisely angled. The engineering required to create such spaces would be impressive by modern standards. The caves present an impossible puzzle. No historical records mention their construction. No contemporary accounts describe their purpose. The volume of rock removed would measure in the millions of cubic feet. Where did the excavated material go? How did workers see in complete darkness to carve such precise patterns? How did they prevent the enormous chambers from collapsing during construction? Most puzzling of all is the absence of artifacts. No tools were left behind. No inscriptions. No religious objects or human remains. It is as if an entire civilization completed a massive engineering project and then erased every trace of their presence. Mystery 9. The Piri Reis Map. In 1929, scholars examining old documents in Istanbul's Topkapi Palace made a remarkable discovery. Among the archives was a world map created in 1513 by Ottoman admiral and cartographer Piri Reis. The map was impressive but not unusual for its era. The map shows the western coast of Africa, the eastern coast of South America, and portions of Antarctica. The South American coastline is depicted with accuracy that should have been impossible. European explorers had barely reached the continent at that time. Detailed surveys would not exist for decades. Even more troubling is the southern section. The map appears to show the coastline of Antarctica, a continent that would not be discovered until 1820. Stranger still, the coast is depicted without its ice sheet, showing geographic features that have been buried under glaciers for thousands of years. Modern satellite mapping has confirmed that the Antarctic features on the map correspond to actual subglacial topography. Piri Reis himself provided a partial answer. In notes on the map, he stated that he compiled it from older source maps, some dating back to Alexander the Great. If true, this suggests ancient navigation far more advanced than history acknowledges. Mystery 10. Sacsayhuaman Fortress. Above the city of Cusco overlooking the ancient Inca capital stands Sacsayhuaman. The structure consists of 3 massive parallel walls arranged in a zigzag pattern, extending for nearly 400 meters. The walls are built from enormous limestone blocks, some weighing more than 120 tons. Despite their irregular shapes, the stones fit together so precisely that even a sheet of paper cannot slide between them. No mortar was used. The zigzag design is not decorative. Engineers have studied the pattern and concluded it provides exceptional resistance to seismic activity. Cusco sits in an earthquake zone. Buildings constructed by the Spanish have collapsed repeatedly over the centuries. The walls of Sacsayhuaman have not shifted. Official history credits the Inca with building this structure. What official history cannot explain is how. Moving stones of this size would require machinery that the Inca did not possess. Local traditions tell of gods who taught humans to soften stone and shape it like wet clay. Legends speak of lost technologies passed down from an earlier age. 10 discoveries. 10 questions without satisfying answers. These are not ancient legends or secondhand stories. They are physical objects you can visit and touch, structures that engineers have measured and analyzed. History is not as settled as our textbooks suggest. Somewhere in the forgotten past, human beings achieved things we cannot replicate. Maybe one day we will find the answers. Until then, these impossible discoveries remind us of a simple truth. There is far more to our history than we understand. And the mystery continues.